play. Off the backboard, count it, and a win! And a win! Ryan Perez wins the game for the Santa Rosa Warriors, and they go nuts, and why not?
And a very pleasant good afternoon, everyone, and welcome back to another show here on Rio Sports Live from Luke Fruia Motors in Brownsville, Texas. Joe Bowling, Ruben Rodriguez on tap here with you as we are here at Luke Fruia Talking Sports on a Wednesday. A special show here as we got some good guests with us. A big week in sports, and it's on the tail end of what was a big week last week in sports. We got UIL playoffs that are bearing down on us on the girls' side. Already the pairings are being made, the locations and the game times are being set. We've got charter school, state final four, the basketball level, and we've also had some special sports presentations here. A big tournament held in Brownsville, and we'll be talking about that as well. Soccer is in full swing. Softball will start on Monday coming up. Baseball has already started practice. They'll have games a week from this coming Monday. And again, I talk to coaches and athletic directors all the time when they're trying to put schedules together, and I always say, when is the craziest day that you're ever going to have trying to schedule something? And it's always coming around this time. Ruben Rodriguez, has been a busy week, a fun week, but certainly, sports is front and center.
We have to mention one more thing. It's also been a week to remember. Of course, we had the inaugural Interscholastic Inclusion Basketball Tournament this past Saturday. That was an amazing time. And I know, of course, we had a lot of soccer being wrapped up. We're already going to see up on Jake Jones here. Again, he talked 2-3 hours on this, but he's already telling me last week who the playoff picture is going to be, who's going to be taking the seeds. And, of course, basketball already starting to flow through. And it's going to be only the beginning, but it's going to be a very, very fun time this time of the year.
Fun time. Again, that's Ruben Rodriguez. We've got some special guests with us. Congratulations to MMA. Congratulations to St. Joseph on a huge win this week at the private school level. Again, we're talking about the UIL schools also heavily involved in our broadcast. This is the first simulcast that we've got going on. We've got our broadcast going on YouTube and Facebook at the same time, and we've got our premium channel on our RSL network as we will be broadcasting two different locations at the same time on multiple platforms. This is the preparation for what's happening on charter school coverage. When we head to Brownwood on Friday and Saturday, we'll be pushing it on our premium channel. And then, of course, we welcome aboard the Leatherneck channel on the RSL network as MMA now has their own unique channel running 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, 365 days a year with content. And then, of course, live games when the Leathernecks are live when we're covering games. They add to the list of the RSL Premium channel, RSL 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and the St. Joe channel. Again, one day we'll have 100 channels going, and every school will have their own channel on the RSL network. But again, we welcome the Leatherneck channel on board. We're broadcasting on two channels right now at the same time. Back with more from Luke Fruia after this.
Sail the seas or see the sails. On South Padre Island, that's as hard as it gets. Visit SoPadre.com.
We're the St. Joe Bloodhounds, and you're watching Real Sports Live.
We're Brownsville Porter, and you're watching Real Sports Live.
Ibanez Tortilleria, serving up freshly made in-house corn and flour tortillas since 1994. Try delicious menudo, tasty barbacoa, fresh tamales, tacos, variadas with juicy grilled chicken, and tender fajitas. On Mondays, buy one barbacoa taco and get one free if you mention that you're a Bloodhound fan. Located at 4726 Paredes Line Road, Brownsville, Texas. Open every day at 6:30 a.m. till 9 p.m. To order, contact 956-541-9594.
We're the Sanford Leader Lady Trojans, and you're watching Real Sports Live.
Our service is unmatched. Our commitment to our team and our community, relentless. Our products are innovative and exciting. Fruia, we're what's next, now.
We are the Westico Panthers, and you're watching Real Sports Live.
Your RGV Vipers are back.
Don't miss out on all the action this season at Burt Ogden Arena as we take on South Bay Lakers on Wednesday, February 22nd and Thursday, February 23rd at 7 p.m. Purchase your tickets at www.rgbvipers.com or at the Burt Ogden Arena.
We are back here at Luke Fruia Motors, and again, we've got a group of guests here with us. Ruben Rodriguez, you had a busy Saturday, and Brownsville was front and center.
Of course, it was the inaugural Unified Scholastic Basketball Tournament, Area 1. 6 Brownsville schools facing off, and it was a very, very fun day. 12 o'clock, got out at about 6:37, but that whole day was just jam-packed. It was just an awesome experience to give these athletes a spotlight on a Saturday. It was just an amazing matchup. We had big games, and congrats again to Brownsville Porter, who picked it up in a big win over Brownsville and to wrap it off. And that was icing on the cake. It was the cherry on top to wrap up an exciting day of action with a huge championship game.
All right, we're talking about being at Brownsville. You know, when I was at my Channel 4 days, I would always go down on Saturdays, and I would try to go live from my games on Saturday nights instead of being in the studio. I just hung out at Sam Stadium, and you know, it was always a pleasure to be down there. And our travels together at Brownsville was like, you know, hey, glad that you're here. Here we go. Let's talk about this event and what is happening with this new version of sports coming to Brownsville.
Okay, I'll need to start off, I guess, with the rationale so that everybody understands. On September 1st, 2021, Senate Bill 776, an act cited as Sahara Law, was passed, which facilitated the creation of adapted sports program. For the goal of incorporating unified sports and activities programs in UIL and unified champion schools is a joint effort between the UIL and Special Olympics Texas. And it's to recognize and offer opportunities for students with and without disabilities to compete in UIL sanctioned competitions and activities. This program will go to regionals. Like you said, right now, Porter won the championship in a nail-biter, and they'll be going on to Keatsville. Probably it's either February 23rd or 24th. We're still trying to get the site, but we're hoping to be in Keansville at the Texas A&M University.
And so again, Brownsville jumped in on this all in. All six schools got to be a part of this.
Yes, sir. Our superintendent, Dr. Rene Gutierrez, hats off to him and the school board because they were the ones that said we're going to start this. The law passed, and we're going to. He asked the athletic department, spoke to athletic director Gilbert Leal, and said we need to start this. So we need to, and this was in June, July. A budget was set apart for this program and started right away. In October, we started getting the coaches and trying to order uniforms and I will say it wouldn't have gotten started without the head coaches of the general athletics program who helped out because I didn't have anything to start with yet. And they were right. We'll lend you uniforms. We'll lend you the basketballs. We'll make room in the gym. We will help with all in, like you said, all in. Everybody was all in, the principals and everything. But our board, the superintendent made the stand and said, we're going to do this. They believe in supporting all students equitably. So this was a great start for BISD because we're the inaugural district to do this.
Let's talk about the general reception from the kids and parents' perspective. You know, how was the sign-up process? Was there tryouts, or was this, let's try to get everyone involved? Let's talk about how it became the formation of teams.
Every high school has an athletic coordinator, and they selected their coaches. You know, just the regular process that we select coaches for any sport. Try to get the persons that you feel can work well with students and or have a little experience also with students, with disabilities as well, but also some coaching experience. So they make a recommendation to their principal, and the principal goes through the process of hiring them to the personnel department. And so they selected their staff. And the same expectations that you have for coaches to get parents involved and to explain to them the rules and regulations of the sport and the expectations of attending practices after school, was very, very important now because, a lot of students who compete in the Special Olympics program, they don't have to worry about that, but because most of their competitions are during the day. But this is a full UIL sanctioned activity at the varsity level here. So they are doing practices like everyone else and getting high qualified coaches who are certified. The UIL portal as well, the regulations that they have, and also the National Federation of High School.
So this isn't something that was going on in the background for the past few years. This year. It all began after it was thrown at you.
I was told, Sandra, you're going to be the director of it, and I'm an assistant athletic director, as you know, Joe. I've known you for at least 15 years,
At least, yes.
Coming to BISD because I've been with the athletic department for many years, and this was like, we'll get it started. We said, oh yeah, as coaches, what do you say? Yes, we'll do it, And like I said, hats off to all the campus athletic coordinators and administrators, and everybody just came together and just said, yes, we're going to do this, and nothing was difficult, to be honest with you. Nothing. There was no obstacles because I think everyone found it in their heart to make room for a program to succeed, and this season was a huge success.
What's the response been from the parents as their kids suddenly are available to play in competitive sports?
Yes, they love it, and what you're seeing now is some success stories where students are having lunch together now that maybe would have never met, and sit down and strategize how they're going to beat the next game, how they're going to win. Some of the basketball players and some other athletes from the other sports. Oh, you can do this, and look, let me show you this, and then just that bond. I think that has created in the students at their campuses is beyond our expectations.
And being the front runner in the RGV already, we know that there are RGV schools already looking to say, hey, let's do what Brownsville did. And this could turn into something where across the valley, many schools participate.
Yes, we are the trailblazers. I will take that. One of the other Brownsville Herald reporter, he said that Saturday, y'all know you're the trailblazers. And I said, well, I guess so. We'll take that, because we have many leaders here in our district that have a heart of gold, and that's what it takes. If you're going to do this, you have to work together as a team, everybody. And again, hats off to our campuses who took the lead. And their parents are very happy. I mean, it was a little eye opener too, because everyone scores. There's no limit on scoring for any student. You're playing the 4 quarters, and so they're learning for the first time, many of them, the art of winning and the art of losing. So that's a biggie. That's a biggie, and that's what we want our athletes to learn, the life lessons that we learn in athletics.
How fast did it turn from we're happy to be here to we're competitive and want to win?
I think it took probably maybe 3 weeks 4 weeks to really get at that higher level competitive, because everyone was real nice to each other at the beginning, and then they started to understand that they need to condition more, they need to train more. This is a varsity sport. So they took it to the next level as soon as they saw what they wanted to win, and this was not just for fun. It is for fun, but it's also to compete and to respect each other, win or lose. To have good sportsmanship was one of our biggest goals too, that our coaches and our students developed during the season.
I always say sports is all well and fun until a scoreboard goes on. And then that competitiveness turns into there's a winner, there's a loser.
There is,
and that's the broadcasting. Ruben, now you can take over this and talk about the event itself, because Saturday was special.
I mean, even from the start, too, of course, we spoke earlier that day. First thing we said was, how long is this going to go? And we said it's going to go all day. And that's going to be a fun time. And it does. It was a very, very lengthy day. We talked about what we saw when we get that opening match. And even from the start, we saw Anzo Lopez got that big win here. And just seeing the way the game unfolded, that's saying, you know what? It's going to be these kids, yes. For the first time, they're learning how to lose. But you can tell they were having fun. Even some of the scores lopsided, but we saw that these kids were having fun. That was really fun.
Yes, they were. Yes, they were. And I think that playing in a tournament for many of them, this was their first time to play in a tournament section like this. So, yeah, the endurance and the conditioning, we're working on that. So we started to have a middle school program that we're starting as well. The superintendent wants to make sure that everyone is prepared as they go to the next level. So, it's going to work out.
And then also I want to talk about something you touched on. You said earlier, I spoke with Coach Salinas of Anzo Porter in the post-game interview. He had told me that it wasn't an easy task to start this off. A lot passed, but okay, how are we going to get equipment? And he told me a lot of the athletic directors, basketball teams, they stepped up and said, hey, no, we'll lend equipment, we'll need basketballs. Some provided the old JV uniforms, and that's what unfolded. And even Anzo Porter, he also told me that they barely got their day today. The championship Saturday was the first time they actually got to use it.
Yeah, because you know how long it takes right now in the whole country. Getting goods transported in is tough. So we knew that going into this, but that wasn't going to stop, what our board and our superintendent wanted us to get it going and get started. And again, it wouldn't have happened without everybody's cooperation. And hats off to the coordinators, our basketball head coaches, and our unified coaches, because they had to work together in order to make this happen. And you saw there were a lot of them were there too, supporting, and the cheerleaders and the student body and the community really came out to support these teams.
And it was really awesome too, because there was a lot of big names in that crowd too. I know I saw Coach Eddie Lozano from Brownsville Pace. I saw Jose Ramirez from Pace, Carlos Edesi, Danny Caro. It was just awesome. Like, it was awesome. And make it better, the fans were loud. Cheerleaders were loud.
Yes.
Mascots were jumping up and down the place. It felt like a huge tournament. And then talk us through that. Let's talk about that one match of Brownsville Veterans and Brownsville Pace. The only overtime game we had. We saw Hannah pull off.
Hannah and Vets, yes, that was two good coaching staffs together that are friends, and it was moving to me. Even the athletes, I don't know if you realize that they were kind of helping each other up and patting each other in the back, and just the level of competition and improvement that they've made from the first season. Who'd have known that they were going to end up like that, so tight, So it was phenomenal.
So again, yes, of course, and then Nicole Gilbert Leon, is the opening ceremony in Hannah in November. I spoke to him. He told me that it was going to be special because it's not going to be like your traditional buddy league.
Oh yes.
Winners every week, losers every week, and I was going to teach these kids the values of what it's like, the pride, what the joy of winning, and the bittersweet of losing.
Yes.
And it was just an awesome experience too. And then one of my favorite parts of coach was Wisky and he had missed shots all first quarter. Finally got a three to come in at the end of the second. He went crazy, went wild, and then the crowd went wild too. It was just an awesome time to see these kids get the spotlight.
Oh, that was the most touching thing for me. Very emotional because everybody dreams of being, winning and playing, and it was just hard fought, good competition, very good competition.
And I also got to a point too where I saw some of the varsity players from Brownsville Veterans from Brownsville, and they showed up, and every time a three was hit, they went wild. I even said it during the broadcast. This is the inaugural Unified Interslav tournament, but it feels like we're 4 or 5 rounds deep in the playoffs. It was a very loud atmosphere, and then of course we look at that Hannah game, and then of course Brownsville Hannah they fell in the championship for Brownsville quarter, and then also even to the opening ceremony of the championship game we had the.
They got that big little ball. Oh, yeah. No, the opening ceremonies was just like, the athletic department. We worked with Veteran Early College. They hosted the event, and Javi Chirinos and JJ Gonzalez, they're the unified coaches. They did so much to partner with the athletic department to get this done. And my hats off to them and Norman Canales for principal for hosting. Because we all worked together. All the coaches donated some lunchies for the hospitality. You saw that. Right, we had a nice hospitality for everyone. We wanted anyone who came in to understand that we are here for these student athletes, And I think it was very special. And I thank you, Real Sports, for being there because you guys made a difference. They knew they were being filmed, so it was nice.
From the members of the opening ceremony, I told myself, this is going to be special training. And we got scheduled last week. Oh, hey, we're going to be doing the Unified Area Championship tournament this Saturday. Oh, really? So now we're planning to cover it. And I was like, yeah, it was just awesome to talk about that championship. Brownsville, Hannah, Brownsville, Florida, those two teams. In fact, those folks, for those who didn't pay attention to the bracket, we had put the bracket on social media. Hannah and Porter were the only two teams who had a first round bye. And they faced off in the matchup, and just an incredible day after all.
Wasn't it? It just really was. We had a lot of community support out there, and student athletes really enjoyed themselves. And the parents, of course, were very appreciative.
Yeah, of course. It's not over.
Oh, no, we got Porter. Moving on. We're just waiting to hear where the final date. It's either the 23rd, February 23rd or 24th. But it is in Kingsville, that we do know. So we're just waiting for the state office to call us and let us know.
For my final question here again, Porter, it moved on. The other schools, the season's over, but it's just the beginning for what's incredible era coming up. What are just some words you can say to some parents, some students who saw this? No, hey, I want to be involved in this thing. Something advice.
The advice for me to them is to contact their coaches there at the high school, their athletic coordinator. Like I said, they pick the right people, the right coaches to coach these programs. So they're always taking names, right? And they'll let them know a UIL packet that they need to have. They'll get a physical, the basic requirements that we have for the student and participates in UIL activities. So everyone's willing and ready to let them know exactly what they need to do so they can participate.
Looking forward to next year, guys. Sandra Powers here, Assistant Athletic Director of BISD. Ma'am, thank you for your time. Enjoy the rest of your day.
And thank you so much.
Back with more on this year on the Luke Fruia Show.
The action live on Somos El Valle, channel 5.3, cable 1241.
We're the Jubilee Titans, and you're watching Real Sports Live.
Hi, I'm Rebecca Castillo. I invite you to visit San Benito and see for yourself the many things this community has to offer. Our offices of economic development offer a variety of business resources to developers, investors, and business owners from small to large scale. Contact us and let us work together on your next business opportunity.
We are Arlington Cardinal Basketball, and you're watching Real Sports Live.
Hello from Los Fresnos CISD, an A-rated Texas Education Agency district. A stands for Academic Excellence at Los Fresnos CISD, where pathways to secondary success are being built for students at the brand new Resaca Middle School campus. A stands for Academic Advancement at Los Fresnos High School, where the College Center provides a jump start on college and career readiness that includes advanced placement classes, dual enrollment options, CTE opportunities, and scholarship money. Los Fresnos CISD, an A-rated and 7-time post-secondary readiness distinction district.
We are back here at Luke Fruia Motors as we switch gears, and let's talk a little Marine Military Academy. Erasmo Molina to the left side, Bobby Lucio to my far left. And I don't know if there's been a more exciting time in recent history, but it's certainly exciting times for the Leatherneck guys.
Yes, sir, it is.
It sure is.
Happy for Mo and what's about to embark with our team. And for the last couple of years, we've enjoyed some success that they haven't seen, my understanding, in quite a while.
Let's first talk about with Coach Erasmo Molina, Mo Molina, as we call him during our broadcast. Coach, first of all, let's go through this last game because you're not playing in Brownwood without a victory in a crazy kind of basketball game that your team went. Let's just dissect this last game in a victory over a tough Idea West team.
Well, I said, if you're patient, okay, this thing can't last forever. I said, we're better than 1 point a quarter or 12 points at halftime. I said, we're guys. So at halftime, I didn't even take him to the locker room, and I said, okay, first I have to calm myself. Okay, then I've got to calm them. Okay, and so then we just talked. Guys, we're better than 12 points. Okay, and that, right? And we made a few adjustments on our defense, and I said, let's go out there. I said, but we got to score the first bucket of the third quarter. I think we ended up scoring 2 real in a row. And I don't like to look up at this. I don't. So before I knew it, I knew the fans were going crazy, and before we knew it, I looked up there, and we were 22-21. Holy smoke! and then the rest, the kids just picked it up. They're that type of kid. They we have a slow start. Eventually, they'll pick it up. They'll wake up. But a lot of it is inexperience. A lot of those kids I have out there really haven't played very much basketball. for the first time. A lot of them are just, they go out and play, in Sandlot or out there, those travel teams and stuff. But organized, a lot of them haven't. So a lot of times, they panic or they get hot because of the inexperience. I knew this that at any point we were going to take off.
I talk about with coaches a lot of times when they go to venues like that. The first thing that a coach really looks at is the shooter's backdrop. Because you got teams that rely on shooters, that rely on getting shots made from the perimeter, and sometimes in a place like that, coach, you look at it and it's like, my kids have never shot with a backdrop 50 feet, 50 yards beyond the goal. And I thought one of the critical moves was keeping them there, not only at halftime within the facility to get the environment processed out, but to get your kids back on the floor to say, hey, get out there, get some shots, look at that goal, which was critical.
Yeah, originally when Tony told me that they were going to give us 10 minutes, I said, it's going to hurt us. But in our pregame warm-up, I put them up. I told them, guys, back up all the way to midcourt, and I want you going full speed in every, drill that we do, and try to get used to the backboard, the rims, the background. Yeah, that also worried me. So I wasn't surprised when we started out with 1 point. Uh, uh, but I knew that eventually these kids, I don't know if they're trying to make me nervous or what, but eventually they'll pick it up. We'll go on a run, just all of a sudden. So it's just the way it is. So, but yes, the venue would definitely make a difference.
Walk me back through the years, because anytime you're talking about a team making it to a Final Four at any level, I don't care where it is, it's a special team. Where does this stack up, and when did you realize, hey, this team's got the mix? And where do they stack up? You've coached a lot of basketball over the years. Where do they stack?
Well, last year, we had a pretty good team last year, but I didn't think we were good enough to advance this far. So I said we can go as far as we can, and that's about what I anticipated. But I knew if these kids come back, we're probably going to be okay. And then when kids like Fisher came in, I said, you know what? I didn't tell them, but I think we're better than last year. And so little by little, it seems like we got better as the year progressed. And that's what happened with us. A lot of these kids were in football. They had good success in football. So that kind of helps because it carries over. But it took them time to get on into basketball mode. And of course, they started believing, coach, we can be pretty good. So we had success early. Really, most of the year, we were undefeated for 4 months.
I know one thing that is difficult with Marine Military Academy is just a simple fact of scheduling. That a lot of coaches at the UIL level and at schools are saying, we like to schedule this tough non-district schedule. We like to get into tournaments. We like to get that. You guys don't necessarily have that luxury of being able to jump into the big tournaments around here. Teams are reluctant to schedule you because, one, they don't know what you're going to bring in every year.
Yeah.
Because you got kids coming in at times from across the state of Texas, at times from across the nation that are coming here. They don't know. And, oftentimes a coach is trying to say, on one hand, yeah, we want to schedule the tough games, but they also want to schedule the games they're going to win. But your kids truly don't really have a good chance to measure themselves and find out how good they are. And so, how much importance does that put on you as a coach that during practice, you're going to make yourself better playing against each other?
Yeah. Well, a lot of times because of our schedule at school, like they're gone for Thanksgiving. Okay, usually we might have a tournament during that time. They're here for 2 or 3 weeks, and then they're gone for Christmas, a whole month. So all that, like that game, when we came back, I guess we started school on Wednesday, and I think we had a game Friday. We hadn't even been on the court. Luckily, it was against one of the weaker teams, and we were able to win that one, but we really didn't get too much out of it because it was really a young team. I mean, we didn't get any shots off. It was mostly on steals and stuff. Uh, but yes, it hurts us not being able to play in tournaments. Uh, because that would help catch up all the time that they're gone and stuff. But but it does. A funny story. We played one year that we had a really good team. We were in Taps, and we had a really good team. So I scheduled pays and people like that. And my friend who was coaching the case, uh, well, we beat them. We went over to their place and we beat them. So we were scheduling our working on our schedule in the spring, and he calls me. He says, "Hey, Mo, is Hollis back? The small kids going on, Larry. Guys, they didn't. He goes, okay, we'll play." He said, "Hey, man, you almost had me fired last year." so, so yeah, it's I try to schedule uh, games, but we don't because of our league schedule. We don't have room in tournaments, especially.
And so it does restrict you. But going back over the history, all the basketball that you've coached, does this team remind you of any team you coached years ago?
Well, size wise, this is the biggest team I've ever had.
Okay.
But talent wise, because the kids that I had at McAllen, at Memorial, and at PSGA, those kids had a lot of experience. My son Brian played for me, and those 3 years that he played, we ended up going advancing in the playoffs. But this team would probably, given another year or so, could be one of our better teams because of the size.
I saw in the stands that Brian was there. A matter of fact, I think the whole Molina family was there. All the coaches were there watching the game. Talking about what that was like being around them, and then more importantly, I saw coaches that were in the stands that you've coached against over the years. All their support. Talk about that. Just the family of basketball still being around and huddling around you guys.
Yeah, well, my family, we're a really close knit family. Well, of course, Brian is at Harlingen South, and my daughter is at McAllen Monroe. Now, that's another. She's the best kept secret. She's an unbelievable coach, but she doesn't want to be a head coach. she had she had a bad experience with one of the places that she was at, politics and all that stuff. So she goes, "Yeah, no more. I'll be an assistant," but she is so she can handle the team. She said offers to go to different schools, but she said I'd rather be an assistant. So, but that's that's my family. But a lot of my ex players, and some that are coaches, they were sitting up there. We and yeah, it was like a big fan club.
21-2 at one point in time. I don't know that you draw many times on looking back and say we were down 21-2 and we came back and won that game. Was there any game that you can remember that far down that you came back?
Not being that far behind. But yeah, we've had some. As a matter of fact, Mike Smith of Victoria, that year that we really had a good team, and he was scouting. He scouted us, and he says he calls me one time because we were playing quarter, and we were down at halftime, and we ended up coming back and beating. We were down like 10. He says, "Mo, I ask you, what do you do your kids at halftime?" He says, "We've watched you several games, and you fall behind, but it seems like you have a good third quarter every time." He goes, "Man, that's a secret. All of us need, because teams have a hard time coming back in the third quarter, and so." He said, "Mike, not, not very much, we make adjustments. But mostly my philosophy is try to keep it cool and calm them down because they're just as upset as I am. So I've got to calm myself down first before I try to talk to them. So and most of the time I said I don't yell, scream at them. No. We try to make adjustments. Talk about what we need to do. Stay calm. We've been here before, and let's just go out there.
Bobby Lucio, you were over there back and forth as much as anyone. I know you weren't seated during that entire first half. Talk to me about how these kids, what kind of special group this kids is, and how they came together in that halftime break.
Mo is being modest there in November when football was over and he got his full team at Marine Military Academy. At times, we'll be given an update on a schedule that the cadets have to be somewhere, so he's going to miss a practice. And he was upset. He says he doesn't yell. He raises his voice, and like, why is this happening? Because we finally have a good team. He knew in November he had a very good team. His concern was a week off for Thanksgiving, and then 4 weeks off for Christmas, and then coming back, going back to that game. And I'm listening to Mo. He was quiet because I'm trying to call a timeout for him, but he's a Hall of Fame coach. He knows what he's doing. He doesn't need me or anyone else telling him, advising him, counseling him. He did a great job of being calm. But I look up there just like you and anyone else, 21-2. We can't do an onside kick. It's a different sport. How is he going to turn this around? And it was unbelievable how he was firm. I heard him talk to his top star player, Jones, and do what we have worked on. He emphasized that several times. He wasn't looking up. He didn't worry about the scoreboard. Let's take care of this one step now. He took it one step at a time, and before you knew it, once momentum changes, this in every sport. Once Uncle Mo jumps the other side, the other team who had some Final Four experience, it was difficult for them to come back.
Talk about the mix of these kids because at Marine Military Academy, no other school that I cover has ever been like what I see. The assembly of a team happens couple of days before school starts. Here come the cadets, and now here come the players. And it's not, everyone played together for the past 4 years. We also played together in summer leagues. We played together all year round. We're used to basketball. Talk about assembling a team like this and what it takes for these kids to do what they're doing.
First day of school, actually the second day of school, we have full assembly with all 200 and however many it is, from 190 last year to up to 250. And they're going to sit down and say, now, boys, cadets, you get to choose an activity. You get to choose a sport that you can have to because everyone has accountable. at 1600, 4 o'clock. They all have to go to a sport. So most going to get guys who may never have played. And just like he says, we're putting together teams, baseball, football, basketball, everyone. This is the first time we've seen them. In football, we've got a game in a week. He's got a game in 2 months. It's unbelievable what our military department does, the educational department does in this is now your team, this is now your family. Basically, you're in college. You're not going home for a while. It's a boarding school. Who's going to be given for you? The education will be given for you. Let's go enjoy sport. And the boys, you also have leadership among them. You have a Webb who's in charge of the cadets, who's been there for 4 years, gold medals in track. That kind of leadership that you have at other schools takes a while in MMA, but we have it also. So the cadets know this is what we're going to do. This is how we're going to be successful. Pay attention to your coach. And it takes a while, but after a while, we're just like any other Texas high school sport program.
I'll ask both of you. I'll start with Coach Mo, and then we'll go to Bobby. Chemistry in sports is such a big word, but yet, how do you develop chemistry on a basketball team in which we're going to be together, then we're going to be away, then we're going to be together a short period, away again, and now together again, and you've never played before? How do you develop chemistry that fast?
That's really the toughest part, especially like these guys in football. My gosh, they've been there a week, and you've got to develop chemistry, and it takes a while. For me, it's difficult, but it's not as difficult as them because they have to start playing right away. But just a lot of patience, different personalities. A lot of one-on-one meetings in my office. To tell, explain to them, hey, this is the way it's going to be, and that's it. No ifs or buts about it. So you're honest with them and tell them point blank, this is what I expect. And then little by little, you can see, that they begin to click, believe in each other, stuff like that. That's the hard part, putting the X's and O's and all that stuff. That'll come, when they develop that chemistry. So luckily, this year, kids have really clicked, and now you can actually see what I was in public school. Like Kids at Memorial. You they've been with you since they were freshmen. So they get to know each other, and they know each other off the court and stuff. So it's easier. But this is we earn our money. Putting a team together.
I know at the UIL level, these coaches get to see these kids in grade school, and then middle school, and then high school, and then the chemistry comes about. Bobby, you get to see them first in football season, and there comes a time when every coach looks around and says, "Okay, if this is happening, I'm going to get these players in position. They're my playmakers. If this scenario plays out." This is such an odd situation to pull this together.
It is. You have to have good coaches. We do. Jim Morton, the head football coach. And then my brother came in, Coach Rick. Larry Cruz, who's a longtime basketball coach at South, and he knows athletics. So these are good coaches. And not that we know more than anyone else, because we're the same as any other coach, is how do you deal with young men? These young men that come to our school, if they're from Texas, they know Texas high school football. They know basketball. If they're from another state, they can't wait for Texas high school football. And then we'll watch film on Hubble. The colonel's very supportive. We have the same accounts that the public schools have. They watch. If they have a chance, we'll go to a Boga Stadium and see my alma mater play. Izzy across town at South. They're like, wow. They're wide-eyed. Can we be like that? Yes, we can. But it's going to take this. And a good coach, one sitting next to me, convinces them, lets them realize this is possible, but it's going to take you. We can only do so much as coaches. You have to. And these young men do a great job of whatever term you want to use, buying into the program, drinking the Kool-Aid, whatever it is, they believe in the coaches, and we believe in what we're putting together. And I think it shows what Mo Molina, Jim Morton has done, what we've done at the Marine Military Academy.
I was there last year in Houston, and watch the Final Four. We covered the Final Four. We covered the state championship game on Real Sports Live. When Ideal Westaco made it up into the semifinals, then we stayed for the championship game. I know what kind of athletes are waiting up there. And people can look all around and say, oh, it's charter, it's private school, it's TAPS, it's this, it's that, it's that. It's competitive basketball. When you get to this level, the cream rises to the top. Athleticism galore waits for you up there, Coach. Let's talk about the preparation. Let's walk through. It's a Wednesday. Let's walk from Wednesday to Friday before the 8 o'clock game, what the cadets are going to be doing.
Well, they, of course, our cadets, they go through 3 different phases. Okay, they have the military. They go to the barracks. They do what the military does. Then they go to class. They go to class all day long, and then the last thing that they do is athletics, and we don't really have them that long. Hour and a half, 2 hours at the most, because they have other military responsibilities. So a lot of times, preparation wise, we don't have as long periods of time as we do in public schools. So we just kind of have to pick and choose what we're going to do on a particular day. Break down the practices, make sure that we cover every phase of the game. So I go in with a plan. Okay, today we're going to put emphasis on our offense. Okay. And then we also like to touch defense, but not as much as we do, say, the following day. Okay, now we're going to emphasize defense, but we always include our shooting at somewhere, because you got to shoot the ball, and so you got to just plan your schedule, your practice schedules very carefully to make sure that you cover everything. And really, we're at a disadvantage. We don't have as much time, so you got to be careful that you cover everything.
And I'm looking at that team from Arlington. Bobby, you've looked at that roster. I've looked at that roster. Coach has seen a little bit of film on this team. It's a big athletic team coming.
Extremely athletic team. And like Coach Molina says, we're limited on time because this is a boarding school. And they serve third mess, which is dinner. And it's got to be before 1800, 6 o'clock. So he does a great job. All our coaches do a great job of getting the important aspects of the game and his game plan. The good thing at our school, we don't have to worry about discipline, and we don't have to worry about conditioning. They do that 3 times a week in the morning while most students are still asleep. So I go into these practices. Again, I'm still learning. A good coach will continue to learn, and his preparation and getting ready. But as far as what I've seen on film, they're extremely athletic young men. So are we, and we're disciplined. And you mentioned this earlier. There are other schools here in the Valley that won't play us in basketball. They won't play us in football. Part of it is a misconception that we have older. No, we don't. We play freshmen just like anyone else. That our boys are disciplined and they're going to play hard till the very end. A non-district game, sometimes that's not what you want. We're just as disciplined. We're going to be just as physical. And I promise you, Mo's going to put a team out there that's going to play very hard.
Coach, I got to ask this final question. It's a long bus ride. You guys aren't staying the night Thursday night and then getting up and enjoying Brownwood, Texas on Friday before you head out there. You're going to get the facility probably a couple hours before your game at best if everything works on the ride out there. It's all business getting ready for this game. You got the final game of the night. But are you having fun with basketball? Because you told me last year at our showcase, you know what, I did retire from this, remember? But yet you're still out there. I saw you the other night, and I saw you, there was, in my eyes, from my perspective, announcing that game, zero panic despite the score early on. And then the adjustments made at halftime were again, in my eyes only. I was far away from you. I wasn't there in the mix. What the cameras were showing me is what I got to see. And that was a coach that kept his team there, that went over to him, calmly kept him right there in the seats on the front row in the arena, and then sent him out there. And then I saw you kind of just kick back, almost like, and I really still love doing this despite the fact what the score is. Are you still having fun doing what you're doing this year?
Yes, I am. You know, Joe, every year I say, okay, you know what, maybe this is it. You know? But as soon as the light come on, oh, the energy's back. Uh, yeah, no, I enjoy what I do. I retired from the classroom, and which I really enjoy. Taught government and economics, and I really hadn't been in the classroom for a long, because in public schools I had one class, or I had mostly athletics, uh, but I enjoy what I do, and well, we'll see what happens after the season, because every year I go through this.
Coaches will tell you all the time, it drives me crazy when I'm out there, and situational aspects of sports put you in positions that you don't want to be in because of the fact you're looking up at those big deficits, and you got to try to figure out how to win a ball game. And then you got all these fans and all this stuff going on, the extracurricular stuff, the transportation problems, and trying to get kids in position to get from here to Brownwood, Texas. Over the last game, and if we win, well, I haven't even talked about that. You win that game, you got to turn around and have them ready to go at 10 o'clock in the morning for the state championship game, which we'll get to that Friday night, one game at a time. But again, I could go on a couple hours on this show easy, and I know you guys got to get back, so you got a limited time to get that practice. Go ahead.
Let me first say this. This guy to my left, Joe, he doesn't let me do anything. Everything's done. And I have two assistants that are also unbelievable. Uh, as you know, I was diagnosed with an illness, and they don't. I feel thin. It's kind of like radar on MASH.
You wanted something done here?
It's overdone. But I really appreciate what Bobby does.
When you have a great coach, you're supposed to take care of him.
Yes, sir.
And we're going to make sure. And Brian, and I see Brian in Mass, going Mass at St. Anthony's on Sundays. And I talk to Brian and Marissa, and they thank me. I'm like, Mo is a coach, like an Alex Leal, someone who has set a standard for the rest of us to follow. And not out of respect that we're doing this for him, he does a great job. We want to make sure that he continues to do a great job for our cadets. It's an honor for me. The honor is mine, to be able to have this opportunity, and I'm along for the ride. We got a bus, Mo. I got your hotel. Let's go get after it.
All right, sounds good. Coach, again, I can't appreciate you enough for what you're doing. I did talk to Brian that night afterwards, and I was like, hey, I said, your dad really had to coach that one up. He says, I'm not sure I could have pulled that one off, Joe. He goes, I was sitting there watching Dad, and it was like, just when you think, well, I've learned about all I can learn, I'm learning, okay, here's what I got to do when I'm down 21-2. Because, again, that's a circle the corral moment, or circle the wagons.
I've never seen that.
I've been around a lot of deficits.
Me too.
21-2, and the shots aren't falling. You got an experienced team on the other side. That Idea Weslaco team wasn't rookies. Those kids knew what it was about, and it was just an amazing thing. Again, we could visit all day long. You guys got to practice. I do appreciate you joining us. We look forward to being up there with you on Friday, and we'll talk some Lead the Neck basketball a little bit further down the line.
Thank you very much.
Thanks for all you do for us as well, and now for the Charter League. Thank you. That's important for us and for the parents who aren't in Harlingen or in Texas. One of his players is from China, Zhang, Chen Miao Zhang. So they're from all over the world. This is important to us. Thank you, Mr. Bowling.
Yeah, we can't wait to be up there. We'll be there. Real Sports Live will be there on Friday and Saturday. We'll cover all 4 games from Brownwood at Howard Payne University on Friday. And then Saturday, we've extended our stay, and we're going to not only cover the varsity championships, we'll cover it all the way through. There's 8 games, and I told my wife, Dahlia, I was like, here we go again. I told Rudy, here we go again. It's back to the days, 8 games in one day. get ready. We're going to cover a lot of basketball, so we'll be there for you. Again, we want to welcome the Leathernecks. Go ahead. Yes, sir.
One last thing. I just a shout out to my athletic director at home, my wife.
Elizabeth.
Yeah, she goes to Rhodes, to South, to MMA, and she's the athletic director.
Yeah,
she runs the show.
I get that 100%. My wife directs me anywhere we go. Yeah, I appreciate that. But again, we want to welcome the Leatherneck channel on board on our RSL network. It's a big deal, my friends, because these kids, again, times it's real trouble scheduling games. They've got to schedule sometimes out of the Houston area, out and beyond Austin, just to get teams to play them, to make sure that their kids get a full schedule. And with the Leatherneck channel, we're going to be able to provide coverage of their sports. It's just another notch in the belt here on what we're creating here on Real Sports Live. All games will be covered for MMA on the Leatherneck channel. All games across the board from Howard Payne University on the 2 days. All 12 games will be on our premium channel on the RSL network, which is also available on Prime. I know we've got a lot of fans that are watching on our apps, on Apple, on Android, on the phones, on the iPads, on our realsportslive.com, on the computers, on Roku television. Now, if you have a Fire Stick, any Amazon Prime type of device, you can now load the app on there as well. And we'll be on Android TV. That's coming within the next few days. We're trying to expand and finding out where people can't get us. We're getting those platforms opened up so that you can watch them. But again, we appreciate everyone that tunes in. It's Luke Fruia Motors. We're here a little bit longer than normal, and thank you for tuning in with us. Look forward to covering games with you. Till next time, I'm Joe Bowley for Real Sports Live from Luke Fruia Motors in Brownsville, Texas. So long.